Hello. How's everybody doing out there? Talking shit Tuesday, coming at you. That's right. Giving you updates on what's going on in the world of automotive news and what's going on with my current projects. I'll give you guys an update on the GT500. We'll talk about Tesla drivers being the worst drivers on the road. You and I understand this. If you live in a metropolitan area, Washington, Seattle area, California, Boston, you name it. Excuse me. You notice that the more Teslas are on the road, the more aggressive they drive. There are no shortages of Teslas in Palm Beach County, hell, in Florida in general. And I'm blown away as to how they drive. They drive like absolute assholes because they have great acceleration from 0 to 60. Then they peter off. Not the Plaid, though. Then they peter off after that. Model Y, Model X, Model 3 guys all drive the same. Dart in and out of traffic. And they trust, because the car has safety modes everywhere, that it's going to save them from being asshole drivers. So I'm going to bring up an example of what people relying on technology have done in the past. And the new version of that is the Tesla owner. And again, I'm going to give you an update on the GT500. Talked to the engine builder, got some stuff squared away. So we'll give you plenty of things to chew on, especially this dick, but not before Mr. Bill O'Reilly says hello.
Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
That's right, Mr. Bill O'Reilly. It absolutely sucks. Let's get with the sponsors here, the ones that make it all possible. That's right. We got Two Auto Solution, Puerto Rico, Daddy Yankee, and Bad Bunny dropping off their cars. Also, Anuel and Archangel are dropping off cars at Two Auto Solutions. Race Motive on Instagram. Has a Porsche. He posts Porsche stuff. Yeah, and he's doing fine. Say hi to Putin for me. DNAP Performance, DNAPperformance.com. DNAP Performance paid their bill. I love it. They paid their bill. Parts Farm, partfarm.com. Got some parts ordered for the Parts Farm notch. Gonna go 9 soon. Conformance.com. Conformance gonna get the 2650 from the GT500. Yeah, gonna get some port work on it. UltimateHeader.com. PMAS, Nick James and Payman. Caliber Transmission is going to get the Corvette probably next week. So we're going to go ahead and get that thing rolling, get you guys content on the Corvette. 5s and 60 to 130, 9s to the quarter mile. We're going to go ahead and have a very, very busy and active winter down here. Dear Fox, Andy Lee says, I came here to chew gum and chew gum. Where is my gum? That's right.
To chew gum and chew gum. And I forgot my gum.
Exactly. We got How's the Family Gallo Bravo. 2000 says, How's the Family Gallo Bravo. Oh my God. Maki Mock Douche did it. Reflex GS. Leon Phelps, Naldo, 427 Dude, Joe Switch, Clean 93 GT, Gallo Bravo. Reflex, Joe Jackson, Monty 540, Ignacio Ramirez, Holly Taquache Mode, Boxy Luxury, Robo Style, Ignacio again a couple of times. Darren Harper, Gallo Bravo, Boxy, Oliver, More Pubes, More Booze, Oliver Bryan, Dustin Garrison, Whippled 50, RCSB Ricky, 82Z28, Rican 50, House of Lewis, Slow 99, RCSB Ricky, Donkey Mac, JD Swag, The Mod, that's right. The Wolf, Elva Galarga, Zachary Lopez, Phil Fez, Elva Galarga, Blue 99, Izzy R, Alfredo Diaz, Canis Lupus 50, Blicky, Bobby, Evening Alice, WSG, fellas, K2AZ, FTR, Ray a bunch of times, Rich, Mr. Prime, Brandon Horn, Brian 03 Cobra, Giovanni Sanchez, GT Frank, Kellen Stocks, Sonic Blue, SK Productions twice, Alan Davies, Maniac, and all the usual suspects. Let's get right to the article and then we can talk our shit. From you-know-who, Matt Farah's site, The Drive. Tesla drivers have the highest crash rate of any brand. Tesla led all automakers. All. Remember, guys, in terms of volume, there are more Fords on the road. There are more Chevrolets. There are more Hondas. There are more. Tesla is a very small percentage, but they led all manufacturers with 23.54 crashes per 1,000 drivers in the last year. Just days after Tesla was forced to recall it's a software update. The auto loan mortgage giant didn't go any further into its analysis rather than look at the crash numbers. The report doesn't explain why the Teslas crashed at a higher rate than any other brand, only that it does. Excuse me? A crash is a crash is a crash. You don't think it has something to do with the fact that the drivers are fucking assholes? Because you don't buy a Tesla because you like to drive. Again, if you like to drive, why would you buy a Tesla? It makes no sense to buy a Tesla if you like to drive. Why? It drives for you, asshole. It literally incentivizes not driving. According to LendingTree, between November 14, 2022 and November 14, 2023, there were 23.54 Tesla accidents per 1,000 drivers. Only 2 of the brands have more than 20 accidents per 1,000 drivers. Ram, 22.6, and Subaru, 20.9. That accident rate also helped it earn its second highest incident rate, 31.3, behind only Ram. The difference between the accident rates and the incident rate is that the latter also factors DUI, speeding, and other citations. Tesla's autopilot and its auto steer feature could be why Teslas are so crash prone. Last year, the Department of Justice launched an investigation into Tesla, and the National Highway Safety Administration, and NHTSA, found that 322 frontal and other collisions resulted from autopilot disengaging. This is what happens with Tesla assholes. Look, let me just get in my car and put autopilot on, and then get on my iPhone and just text my bitch and show her pictures of my cock while the car drives me down I-95. And then, I have to interfere. Holy shit, autopilot didn't see this. And you jerk the steering wheel, dick in hand, iPhone in other, and boom, you bump into somebody or cause a massive accident. Because autopilot isn't perfect. Neither is self-drive. They're different. Autopilot and self-drive are different. As the recall mentioned above highlights, it was too easy for drivers to leave Tesla's autopilot on its own and completely relinquish control. Tesla claims to be fixing that issue over the air with an over-the-air update. Again, guys, people are buying Teslas because they don't like to drive. They autopilot and self-drive it to death. Are Tesla drivers the worst drivers in the world? As LendingTree headline suggests, that's a bit unfair to say. No, it's pretty fucking fair. If you live anywhere where there's a high concentration of Teslas, they're fucking assholes. Just like iPhone owners. That's right. Anyway, they said that incident reports, BMW apparently has like the highest rate for DUIs. That doesn't surprise me because BMW guys are fucking cuck-ass bitches. Anyway, iPhone guys are the same way. If you like technology, if you like being able to manipulate things, if you like to be able to get into stuff, break stuff open, move it around, update software, replace SD cards, you don't buy an iPhone. If you buy an iPhone because of convenience. You want your text to look blue. You want AirDrop. You want easy. Tesla drivers are easy. I don't own an iPhone. I own a Samsung, dickhead. I would never in my life own an iPhone because of the culture. iPhone users are easily manipulated by 8-year-olds and grandparents, telling you that it is a simple device. Teslas are bought by people that do not like to drive. They like the techie shit. They like the convenience. They're not actually drivers. Most Tesla drivers are asshole, virtual signaling, hippie douchebags. Okay, and then when Elon says something that they don't like, they go, oh, fuck Elon, but they'll get in their Tesla and autopilot it to their fucking house. Tesla drivers are assholes and they don't drive. They don't like to drive. They hate to drive. The vast majority of Tesla owners, 3, X, and Y owners, are fucking homos that suck dick. Plaid owners are homos that suck dick that like to go fast. Okay, so I liken them to iPhone users. Douchebags that like techie shit but don't really care to get into the nitty-gritty as to what makes the phone or vehicle good. Camaro's dead. That's right. Camaro is finally dead. Stick a fork in it. Confirmed. And no one really cares, it seems like. I think there are more people... God damn it, I want more coffee. I like the flavor. I don't like the caffeine. I genuinely just like the flavor of coffee. The caffeine doesn't affect me anymore. But 1 cup is enough. No one really cares as much as people care about the Hellcats and Trackhawks being taken off production. The reason I think that people like Hellcats and Trackhawks because they slide on the ops real good. They make great power. It's a wonderful motor, and this transmission is legit. And you can go way into the nines modified, and you don't really have to go into the motor to make any decent power. But the Camaro, to me, was a car that never really caught on once S550 came around. Now hear me out. We live in the modifying world. You, us, this channel, we live in the modifying world. We don't care. We don't care about stock numbers. Stock numbers is for poor people and bench racers. I look at a vehicle's potential as its main, let's say, the main reason I would buy a car is to see how far I can go with it. And a 302 equipped Fox body is not something I would buy if I want to go far with it. Because you and I both know at about 500 or 600 horse, you're done. Yes, the car's light, blah, blah, blah. But let's be honest. We live in a world where 8s is not that impressive anymore. Like if the GT500 ever gets fixed and goes 8s, it's going to be cool, but not that cool. 7s is different. But I don't think that car has the capability of going 7th. So when the Camaro died, it went away with a whimper. Don't get me wrong. Stock. The ZL1, 1LE, and the 1LE NA SS or whatever the hell they called it were wonderful vehicles. That supposed alpha platform or whatever it was handled great. People praised the brakes, the handling, the 10-speed. It was lighter. The last generation was the lightest one. And, you know, with some minimal mods, the car really rolled the hell out. But if you want to make big power and run 9s and 8s, it required a decent amount of work. So that made it less likely to really catch on, where you can literally buy an ESS kit, a fuel system, and on a stock stock motor, you are now well into the 9s for under $20,000 all in. Way under $20,000. Hell, under $13,000. You have a mid 9-second E85 equipped S550, whether it's a Gen 2 or a Gen 3, because the motors are better. Gen 1, nothing wrong with them, except the motors weren't that strong, so people generally didn't take those that far. But the Gen 2 and Gen 3 Mustangs really made a name for themselves once Boost was introduced. So you got to understand that the Camaro never caught on because of the amount of work it took to go fast. Did it chop good when it was cammed up? Absolutely. Did it hold its own NA versus its counterparts? Absolutely. But you gotta understand that if you couldn't take and grow with that car semi-easily, it was less likely to sell. Where Hellcats and Trackhawks were being sold to everyone that lives near Popeyes and their laundromat. They were just giving out loans, predatory lending. Look, you and I both know I could probably afford I can get a loan to get a Hellcat. I don't think I want to pay $1,100 a month or $1,200 a month for that car to get stolen. But you and I both know if a guy works at T-Mobile, Costco, Walmart, barely has a job, how the hell is he getting approved for these loans? What they're doing is they're extending the loan terms 7, 8, 9, 10 years. High interest rate. So that's why those cars were just being pushed out. They were giving them to anybody. So I don't know if lending was tighter with the Mustang and the Camaro, but the Trackhawks, Hellcats, SRT8s, whatever, all those cars were basically, you were guaranteed to get it if you were breathing and had a pay stub in the last 4 or 5 years. So vaya con Dios, Camaro. Maybe you'll come back and reincarnate it as a fucking electric minivan pussy. Good luck. Happy trails to you. GT500 update. I pulled the motor. If you're on my Patreon, if you watch the post on YouTube, I pulled the motor. That's right. Theo Alex comes from this crazy generation where you get shit done. At 14, I had my first semi-construction job. I worked since I was 14, every summer job I could to get money. At 17, I was the headline votive for a factory that made candles. I was the lead guy there at 17 years old. So I come from a completely different bloodline of male where I work. So I said to myself, regardless of what needs to happen, whether I take the heads off and send them out, or I decide to change the springs in place, at minimum, the cams have to come out. And if the cams have to come out, the motor has to come out. So trying to convince myself to motivate myself to do it was a couple of things. I heard a slight exhaust tick, and I said, well, that'll give me an opportunity to get new hardware, tighten up the headers, and get new gaskets in there. Second thing was a couple of things in the back of the motor, grounds and stuff, weren't super great. So once I pulled it out, hey-o, transmission, by the way, guys, now that I know what the fuck I'm doing, was way easier getting out of there. The process took, transmission coming out was maybe an hour and a half, and the motor coming out was maybe 4 hours on top of that. I rigged it up in such a way that I could angle the motor nicely. I did not have to take out the radiator this time. I did not take out any of the accessories. I kept the alternator. I kept the coolant manifold intact. All I did was took out the intercooler and the blower and hoisted it up with a sling, angled it properly, came right out. So the engine builder and I have been communicating, and he has been offering parts, help, dimensions, because the springs need to be shimmed. And once he wrote to me and we had a conversation, and this is why I didn't go on a bash session. You got to be really careful, okay? This channel is very influential, and I see some of the jokes on the chat, and they're hilarious. They're hilarious. But the reason I don't go on bash fests is because it can really affect somebody's livelihood. And I understand that the result of the car not performing was not out of malice or bad intention. But, you know, you also work really hard for your money, so you wonder where $10,000 or $11,000 went. And you look at the invoice and you go, okay, I can make the justification that there was heavy labor involved. I don't care about that. I'll replace the springs, not a problem. And he offered help with shims. He offered to come down next month, but my timeline is tighter than that. So he has a business, so he can't just jump on a plane and come down and take care of me. And I understood that. But he did offer some gaskets and whatever help I might need. We talked over email, over Facebook, and he's been very communicative, and he's been very available if I need any help. That still doesn't take the fact that I'm disappointed, but I'm not mad, and I'm not going to go bash people. That's what I got to understand, that I don't go out of my way to bash people, because if someone did something out of ill intent, then I just go all in. But I know that he didn't intend on this happening, because it would be crazy for him to intend on something like that happening. So he's doing his best to have my back on this situation. Obviously, he's limited because he can't do anything from Pennsylvania. So I have people, I am very lucky that I have Jake Sr. that are super resourceful, that are willing to help. Jake is genuinely excited to help. And yes, RoboStyle, he absolutely is stand-up. I would never go out of my way to bash him. I can voice my displeasure. I can say I am disappointed, but I'm never going to say he fucked me, because he didn't. Okay, once the motor went in, started, and got all the pressure, and everything was good, he probably wasn't aware how old the springs were. He probably checked them and checked out fine. And maybe after a couple of pulls on the dyno, some springs decided to stop springing. And that's not, in my opinion, his fault. Should he have replaced them from new? I don't know. That's one of those questions that you'd have to ask him. And maybe if he knew that they were 7 years old, he probably would have said, sure. But he just received the motor, rebuilt it the way he normally rebuilds it. But I'm sure from now on, springs are going to be at the forefront of conversation. Now, something I learned along the way with these springs that I didn't know. Did you know that the intake spring and the exhaust spring are two different heights? Never did I think that's even a thing. But again, Cobra guys right now are going, oh, Alex, of course we knew. I'm sorry, this 4-valve dinosaur is the first time I'm experiencing this. So the intake spring and the exhaust spring are different height. And I think they're different rates. So that's something that I'm going to check. We're going to remove them. We're going to put each cylinder, intake, and exhaust. Again, guys, there's 4 springs per cylinder, 32 total. 2 intake, 2 exhaust. So I'm going to put them in a bag. They all have their own bag, and I'm going to make sure that they all get checked to see which ones don't check out. Because if I go ahead and remove the springs and reshim the new ones and get everything installed, and then I send these guys to get checked for, consistency, and they all come out fine, I might not have the issue fixed. So I got to make sure all my T's are crossed and I's are dotted before I stick it back in the car and hope it makes power. But the springs are going to be replaced as a, let's just say, another thing that should not be an issue is the springs on the car. So that's the plan. The update is I am communicating with the engine builder. He's a stand-up guy. He's been very good. He's been forthcoming. He's been offering gaskets, springs, shims, whatever I need. But the spring removal and replacement is going to be done by me and Jake sometime. I have bought over, in the last 4 days, I'm not saying this for any other reason, I have spent over $2,500 in tools, parts, and things to make engine removal and spring replacement convenient. I had to buy the spring compression tool. I had to buy the little micrometer thing to tell you the installed height of the spring. I had to buy a new table, a rolling cart with a hydraulic table, so I can actually do this comfortably. I had to buy a cradle for the engine because the cradle that I shipped the engine up there to, the shipping company destroyed it on the way back. So understand this, guys. And maybe you'll understand why I'm a little, maybe you don't understand why I got mad at all when shit happens. Off pocket, I'm a couple grand into this fix. You understand? Off pocket. And people go, what do you mean? What do you mean a couple grand? Guys, to make my working environment easier on my back, I have limited room. You've seen where I work because I'm poor, and a poor guy working on his GT500 has to, get creative with his tools. So I am at least $2,000 of not only, remember, not counting the $500 in sensors, plugs, coils, gaskets, and more importantly, guys, my time. My time. So my labor, nobody accounts for that. So now I have to get tables, spring compressing tools, adjust height measuring tools for the springs, gaskets, another set of plugs, oil, filter, cool. You understand? Removing a motor isn't just labor. Removing a motor and making sure that I make all these parts get installed as good as possible costs a lot of money and time. So this fix is costing Alejandro Flores at least $2,500 for tools, time, and convenience to make the swap easy. Now, I'm not asking anything from anyone. I am just stating what it is costing me and why I am justified in being a little, miffed about the situation. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You can talk about Tesla owners being the worst drivers ever, according to LendyTree. You can talk about why the Camaro never made it. Or we can talk some more shit about GT500 stuff and your general questions will get answered. Thank you for allowing me to talk for 20 minutes or so uninterrupted, and I'll get to your questions right now. Turvey can fly down to look at the spring, says Gallo Bravo. Alex, you were about 6 years too late for me, bro. I put $25,000 into my C6Z just for your 01 to be faster with a pulley, free-flown exhaust, and fuel. I'm telling you, bro, good luck in 2023 finding any 01 that drives under $70,000. I bought that car for $60,000 almost 2 years ago. And that car, I can sell it tonight for $72,000. Transmission, oh, by the way, transmission's going to get fixed probably next week or at least 2 weeks. I bought an RPS dual from Late Model Performance. I am like on a spending spree. And I bought the nitrous kit for the small block Ford parts farm notch, but not before I do some suspension work, go back out there NA, see if I can go 1050s, then I'll do the nitrous stuff before the end of winter. I have spent stupid money, but it is a content factory. And a lot of you are really excited to see the spring removal and replacement. So I'm gonna hope that Jake allows me to film us do that, because I gotta recoup this money. I'm out $2,000+ just in tools. I can at least get some fucking views. Each video makes like $70-$80. It doesn't make like 2,000, but the cumulative effect of having content on the channel helps. Good tools will eventually pay for themselves. Troubleshoot current engine, build or build turbo kit with no instructions, which is worse. Any union workers in the chat can send Alex an exoskeleton? Oh gosh, you have no idea what my back, bro. Not a good time. Alex, what quarter mile ET could you consider in a car insanely fast? Anywhere in the low 9s and high 8s to me is stupid fast. 9s feels good. You've seen Cletus in the F-150. By the way, he dynoed it, made 1100. We all knew it would. But then they went ahead and put on these tiny little tires. And I'm like, bro, that's not going to be a good time. It's going to be a bad time with those little tires. Trust me. Watch me be Mr. YOLO Damas again. And if they put too short of a tire that isn't an ET Street R on that truck and go back out there, it ain't going to run that much quicker than it already did with 21s or 22s. I spent about $2,000 to troubleshoot my 2019 since it wasn't throwing a code, and according to Al Packer, no code equals nothing wrong. Meanwhile, the car needs a new motor. Damn, car enthusiast. The fact that you work on all these cars without a shop is pretty incredible. Now, I saw that. I saw a lot of you guys say, damn, Theo doesn't fuck around. Man, Theo's getting at it. Okay. I hope you guys understand my background. See, I told you that I worked blue-collar jobs since I was a kid, a child. And when I was at 22 or something, I ended up getting a job as a millwright. And that's when your eyes are opened up to what the world really is. It's a lot of rigging. It's a lot of big electric motors, bearings, gearboxes, just dirty, nasty environments in the underbelly of the world. Where, like, when you open your faucet, do you understand how many transfer stations that clean water goes from the water plant to the pipes to the transfer stations? Like, there's so much shit along the way just in water that you don't even know that like vertical turbine pumps, diaphragm pumps, you name it. So then I got, okay. So if I had a shop that was like 2,000 square feet and one lift and enough room for a dyno, I can work magic. I am telling you, I'm a nobody. I don't consider myself to have above average mechanical skills, but what I have is a pretty good work ethic, and I'm not really a quitter. And I thought that to myself, look, finding motivation to work on a car after you've done all this work and it fails, I thought about Brian Luna's issues. I thought about the Lunds having their issues. I thought about so many builders and people that I know that have had struggles and they still go through with it and get over it, and it makes it that much sweeter when a favorable outcome happens. I thought, well, let me just keep at it. So the work ethic I think has always been there. And yes, it sucks working in a very, very two tiny bays. But one day, guys, with your help and my work ethic, I think we're going to end up in a good situation. I really believe I'm going to end up in a house with a very big garage, enough room for a dyno, a lift, and some storage, and a whole bunch of fucking cars. Like, I am going to end up, mark my words, I am going to end up with a Gen 5 Viper, a GT500, and a ZR1 at the same damn time. Okay? So that's, you gotta have that kind of outlook. So just bear with me. I am working. This is all part of the plan. Once prices come down a little bit, which they won't, unless Bobby Trump gets elected. By the way, Colorado said, fuck you, you're not going to be on the ballot. That's going to be overturning the Supreme Court. Bet me. Like, instantly. You can't just let a guy off a ballot when he hasn't been convicted for shit. It's crazy stuff that's going on out there. Checking in late. Happy holidays. So you would consider a 4-second 60 to 130 car insanely fast? Absolutely. Guys, you don't understand. My GT500 went 4.3 on the street, 4.8 with the TVS. That is, and it's an 8-second car. Was, at one point, an 8-second car. Content. That's all I heard. Meeting some good episodes for the future. Fox Body, GT500, 01. All is good. Exactly, guys. Content. ZR1 RPS clutch. We're probably gonna bring it back down. Trans is fixed. Go to the track. That bitch is gonna run 9s. Listen to me. It's gonna run 9s. And it's already been a 6.0 60 to 130. So I know for a fact it'll go 570 tonight. It's cold outside. I just don't want to go out there and beat the shit out of the car when I don't have to. I'll bring it back once the clutch is good. Then I'll do my thing. Go 9s. And then once it goes 9s, then I got to talk to Alec Bledsoe. Be like, bro, this thing needs, maybe some heads. Or we're just going to go ahead and make 800 on the 85, ship it up there, do a fuel system, let them tune it. They know what the fuck to do. I want air fuel to be 11.3 at Watt. I don't care what he says. I love you, Alec. I want Alejandro Flores wants 11.3 air fuel ratio at Watt. If it costs me 5 horsepower, so be it. 11.3 at Watt. That's where I want it. Sorry. And if we ain't doing that, I'll tune it. Fuck, it's all good. How hard is it to understand? You're single. You don't have to be you don't have a woman encroaching on you every square inch of the home. Elbow room is nice though. Being able to go into the garage and not smash the wall. Like Rami Zaidan made fun of my wall because it has stains on it. And I'm like, I don't care. He's like, oh, but it looks so ugly. I'm like, bro, this isn't a shop. This is a storage unit essentially that I'm literally building cars in. If it was a shop, it'd be a completely different operation. Fuck Gen 5 Viper is the ultimate end goal. I got to ride in one. It's insane. It's a must. Sequential. Fuck sequential. Sequential palo pato. H-pattern, man shit. Evening, Alex, is car enthusiast. Nestor here. I've heard that keeping shifts to about 6,500 on GT500 will help the longevity of the motor. Your thoughts? I know the rods are max at 850, so staying under that, yes. Now, if you cam the car, 7,000 shifts, but the rods and RPM, and that is what's going to keep it happy. But yes, generally, Nestor, 6,500 RPMs is all you want with a cammed GT500, like Comp Cam NSR. No springs required on those cams. I think you'll be okay up to about 6,100 RPMs because based on the thousands of cars I've dynoed between VMP and Lund, understand this, guys. My job every day for 8 hours a day is to dyno or log and adjust Mustangs all day. So a lot of people hear me say things and they don't believe it. And I go, wait a minute. One of us in this room has literally thousands of cars under his belt in terms of data, tuning, and just general Mustang experience. So if you're going to look at me and say you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, then show me anybody else that deals with 40 to 50 cars a day, 8 hours a day for almost 10 years. Not many, except others in my field at Lund. Need to run 849 or faster to be able to put in Texas 2K. We're at 8.7, 155, 14 PSI, Gen 3 Turbo. Hey, look, that's real deal shit. Lunds are going to go to 2K. That's right. The Lunds are signed up for 2K. I don't know if they're going to go. Mr. Prime 269 says, Alex, in your opinion, a 2020 ZL1 more desirable than a 2020 GT500 from a modding perspective? No. I would rather mod a 2020 GT500 compared to the ZL1. This is why. You can go low 9s in a GT500. Actually, you can go high 9s in a GT500 extremely easily. Pulley, free-flowing exhaust, E85, and if you want to port the blower, that's it. Port, pulley, E85 injectors, and a tune, you are a 970, 9.8 car easily. If you want to really get after it, you put more boost, bigger overdrive, headers, and it might go low 9s. You know what I'm saying? Did Keith even say that it's possible the springs could even cause that? Yes. I swear it sounds like a spark is going away under boost. No, it's how is it? I get it. You guys haven't seen what I've seen. So let me ask you a question. Monty 540. Let's ask everyone. Let's ask everyone on the chat. How can carbon get in the rotors? Go. Under what circumstance can carbon buildup get in the rotors and in the intake by the throttle body? If you can explain how spark blowout will allow combustion gases into the rotor, I'd love to hear that argument. I'd love to hear how you guys think of spark plug blowout. In the video, people must not listen to the video. Thank you, Patrick. Patrick gets it. Intake valve open. Now, I don't know the springs are an issue, but when you do a process of elimination, think about this. Everything has been replaced or checked. I repeat, everything. When you say bypass, the bypass was checked. When you say, did you lower boost? Yes, I even changed the blower. Listen to these words. I went from a 4.5 liter Whipple, took it out, put the TVS in. Same throttle, same cold air, same tune. Did the same thing. I went from 30 PSI peak to 25 PSI peak. And it did the same thing. So it is not a boost issue. It is not a bypass issue. It is not O2s. It is not spark plugs. It is not the tune. It is not the throttle body. It is not the MAF sensor because it was replaced. It is not the spark plugs or the coils because everything was replaced. That cost me $500+ to change all that. And now $2,000+ to have the tools and the equipment to take the motor out. Off pocket. This motherfucker is out $2,500 and weeks of time diagnosing this issue. Of course I have the right to be a little pissed off. Valve flow usually has a nasty sound. Are we talking push rod or are we talking overhead valve? Intake valve open at the wrong time. Exactly. Alex, most of us get your Coyote information from your lives and videos. We don't know shit. No, I understand that, but there's a weird amount of people out there. They go, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I'm like, I don't? Like, I've never had a guy that I tune say, I fucking suck. Nobody at Lund has ever said, Alex does a bad job. Nobody at Lund or customers have ever said, Alex gives bad information, don't listen to him. Only competitors or friends of competitors say that I don't know shit. The starter has too much torque. EGR, if it had one, possibly. Driving behind a diesel. Insane Mustang says, I hated working for 20 minutes and then finding out I needed a part or special tool when I rebuild my engine blind. Would have to stop and wait a week or whatever to come in, but my buddies and I got it done in my driveway. Lizzo's legs are open because the valves are not closing all the way. There's a difference between intake valve flow and exhaust valve flow. Live and learn. Exactly. Evan Smith makes a great point. So let's talk about exhaust valve flow versus intake valve flow. I do not think there'll be an audible misfire if the intake valves are floating. There will just be a loss of power. An exhaust valve float situation is, let's say you have a highly restrictive turbo system. Let's say you have a T4 flange on both turbos, stock manifolds, and you're trying to get over 15 PSI to it. And it goes, and you go, what's that? Well, it's not letting the air get out fast enough. It's bunching up in the combustion chamber, but the intake valve is doing its job. The intake valve is closed at the right point, so what you're hearing is the exhaust be a little odd. So you have an audible rev limiter sound because the exhaust cam and exhaust valves are having a float issue. The intake cams typically are not, now the combustion is not leaving just the exhaust side. The exhaust is going both ways. So the exhaust goes out, some of it exhaust, and then some of it goes back into the intake. So if the boost is pushing against exhaust on the intake side, what do you think that's going to sound like? You think it's going to go brrr, or the car's just going to go boom, bog the hell down? That's when Jake went, this has to be valve flow or a weak intake valve because it's just not making power. You think every spring went bad, the whole engine shuts down? What happens if 3 cylinders are not combusting properly, Monty 540? What happened if 3 cylinders are not combusting properly? A deleter was installed and it caused bigger pulley and bigger cam to rotate counterclockwise instead of boost, caused a reverse vacuum. Not bad as in broken, bad as in weak. Did you not watch the video? Tom Monty. Nah, it's okay. PK, what's up, PK? I haven't... PK, we got to start tuning guys over there, brother. I know you're doing wheels and Cobra builds. Get some more Coyotes in there. You guys are probably one of the better shops out west. We got Valley 10-speed out there and others, but PK is super legit, bro. Like, we love working with PK. So if you guys are near PK Auto Design and you got a Coyote, hit them up. Get over there. Get work done. They got a dyno. And PK has experience. And if he doesn't know, he asks people that has experience. And he vets the problem. He's still fucking with this throttle body situation on a CJ stuff. I hope that's figured out. I ever wonder what happened with that thing. EPA says, sandblast the intake board to seal everything up. Valve flow was the first thing that Rogers built ran into when he was on a stock motor, reverse combustion engine. If by some freak accident the exhaust spring got installed on the intake, taller height, lower seat pressure. Now that's something I don't think is likely, but I think it's possible, right? I'm not saying it's likely. I know that Wonder Racing and the guys know what they're doing, but that's why I want to remove the springs. Just put it on a table. And again, I'm going to show you what we find. I'm not looking to do aha moments. I want to fix the issue. And after being into it for this much money and time, I just want to fix it, put it back in and run an 8. That's all. But I definitely want the content, because if I'm out all this money and time to try to fix this issue, I'm gonna get my money back and maybe help somebody out there learn something by videoing what's happening with the car. The valve spring did not survive the test. You still arguing this? Yeah, he's still arguing this. Valve flow will show on the dyno graph. It did. It made no power. When you have valve flow, doesn't it hurt the cam? It doesn't help the cam, I'll tell you that much. The fact that the thing was an animal before breaking the chain now doesn't rev. And he is, boss. So far, I am not out there talking shit on him. But the car made 1,100 horsepower with 10-to-1 compression. And it comes back and it barely makes, right now, 800. Alex, how much you want to bet that this was also causing higher IAT2s? No. Right now, the IATs are well under 110, so IATs are not an issue. The IAT2 issue is being caused by the lack of flow because the ice tank was not vented properly. PK's my guy, says Whipple50. Not arguing, just thoughts, trying to help. All good. I wish I was closer to PK. No good near shops near me. If it was an intake valve, the MAF will also have backwash messing with the single, making it erratic. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. MAF sees flow. Carbon, it's not seeing backwards flow. If the car is making, let's say the car has the ability, JMS, you're way wrong on this. Let's say the car has the ability to make 30 PSI, but it only makes 10 PSI. It's still making 10 PSI, maybe through 5 cylinders, and the other 3 are having a combustion issue, and carbon is building up near the intake and the rotors. That doesn't mean it's backwashing all 25 PSI backwards. It's still, the motor is still rotating. It's just not making power. It's bogging, but it's still rotating, so the rotors are still placing positive pressure on the engine. So your thoughts about backwashing on the MAF? I don't even know what planet you think that can happen in. Wow. Are you going to have the valve seats checked as well? Well, me and Jake had a bit of an argument about this. So let's talk about this. So I was going to take the heads off and send them out and get everything checked. Jake's like, no, just do the springs. I'm like, Jake, what if I put the springs in and there's a valve issue because of the spring? He's like, I really don't think that's it, man. And I'm like, you don't know. Listen to the words that I'm saying, Jake. What if there is a valve issue because the springs are weak? I don't think that's it, man. So it's easy for him to say because it's not his car. He didn't pull the motor. He didn't break his back for hours. He's not out $2,500. So I said, Jake, it's only 10 more bolts. Heads come off. I take him to a shop. Shop checks him out. Bring him back. I really don't think that's it, man. So we argued on the phone like a couple. And I'm like, he's like, look, if you pull the heads, you might as well just send the whole fucking motor to the place. I go, why? He goes, why not just check everything? I go, because it's the difference between an $1,800 bill and a $4,000 bill. Plus $2,500. Like, this motor's going to cost me 20 grand if I do that. By the time it's all said and done. He's like, I don't know. If I take the heads off, it's going to be coolant all over the pistons, and it's just going to be shit everywhere. I go, it's water. In Florida, it's water. He's like, you're introducing more issues. So, I'm going to blame him. If the springs go in, and there's another issue that doesn't have to do with the springs. Because I said, Jake, you're now convincing me not to take the heads off and send them out because you think it's going to be fine. And I think, let's just check everything in the head. And he goes, well, if you're going to check everything, send the whole motor to them. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm arguing with it's like he's my girlfriend. Unbelievable. You can lap the valves to see if there's a valve seat problems. I would most definitely send those out even if nothing is wrong. Insurance. Yeah, but Jake's telling me I'm stupid. Do you see what I mean? Like, sometimes help is not good. Sometimes you can have too many chiefs, and some people need to be Indians. And I love Jake, but in this case, be an Indian. But fuck it. Alex only wants to do this once. Make sure everything's good the first time. Oh, I thought I did, B. Randon. I thought I already did that. I agree on this thought, but I'm like you. I already did all the work to take them off. I'm having them done. Yeah, he thinks I'm fucking stupid. He literally thinks I'm fucking stupid to take the heads off and send them out to get checked. I don't think anything broke. I'm like, I don't know. Look, no. Now this is going to be good content at this point. Fuck it. It's only money. Jesus Christ. That's a lot of money, guys. And time. I'd rather be racing. Anyway, if he argues with me more, I'm going to say, Jake, I'm going to do your way. But if anything fucks up, it's on you now. I'm going to fucking start blaming everybody else for everything. That's where I'm at. I'm like, Jake, if you think taking the heads off is a stupid idea, unless I send the whole motor to the place who doesn't do these. Understand, the place that I want to take the heads to doesn't do these motors. So I don't trust them to do anything, but they do cylinder heads. So it's not, I trust them to do cylinder heads. I'd say, okay, Jake, do you take the blame if anything goes bad with the motor? He'll say no. Then I'm going to go there now. I'm get out of my shop. I'm taking them off and I'm doing it. Fuck it. I'm going to agree with you 100%. Always think worst case scenario. Always go full to check everything. So just cross it off the list. When you already checked, might as well have the heads checked. He is yelling at me that I should not, which in my brain doesn't make any sense. But now I can blame him. Fuck it. I'd be curious if the valve didn't kiss the piston. Yeah, no. Well, I mean, no, it didn't because compression check. Okay, guys, compression check came back good. Understand, I did this. I did a compression check. 205 to 215, all cylinders. So if there was a seat issue, don't you think compression, well, depending on where it is, would show up, or a leak down test? Yeah, exactly. Monty 540 says compression test showed good. Seats are fine. That's what I think. Jake's just mad he lost the race to the white GT. Yeah, he was talking about the notch, and I'm like, boy, that notch is gonna fuck you up, son. Now that we got some numbers on it, if you pull the heads, you got to get them polished. Hey, send them out. Check seat, valve keepers. I'd even swap the springs. I mean, all the time you spent while I'm in there. OPGs. So the old pump gears are the same ones that were in it. I already got that confirmation. Again, that's why I don't say nothing. How much will it cost you to have them checked? Probably $800. Spring, it's basically a valve job, right? No, don't you have to like disassemble everything, check everything, because now they own the head. Do you understand? So when you send something out, the last person that touched it now owns it, for better or worse. And you know, if you own a shop, that's the problem, right? You remember, imagine you own a shop. Imagine your PK Valley 10-speed or SK or anyone, and you do a header install, and then the guy drives away because he goes, "Nah, my radio don't work." Okay, we did a header. Yeah, but the radio doesn't work. Okay, I was under the car, asshole. I unbolted like 8 bolts per side, and then 2 bolts by the collector, and I put your O2s in. That's all I did. Yeah, but you're the last place that touched it, so fix my fucking radio. That's going to be the issue with the head place. If anything goes wrong, I got to go back to them. And it just becomes a fucking nightmare. So I'm just going to do the cheap, quick thing, throw springs in it because the compression came back okay. Compression test came back okay. And vaya con Dios, hope everything works out because I don't think a valve is fucked up. So it wasn't the tune? Right, it definitely wasn't the tune. If the seats are bad, you'd see in a leak down test, they were not bad. Leak down test came back good. What about tapping noise, what you were hearing? Yeah, I don't know. What am I going to do? Just fucking send the whole motor to a place? About $10,000 more. You don't understand, guys. You don't just send motors to places to check things out. It's basically a rebuild. Like, let's say you got a motor from your favorite motor builder and something not great. You pull it out, you send it somewhere else to get it looked at. They disassemble the whole motherfucker, check everything, and reassemble it. What do you think that's going to cost you? It's a rebuild at that point. So you're going to think that a guy's going to check it over for $1,000 when now he has, and his shop's name is behind that? No. If I send anything out, it's going to be thousands of dollars if I send the whole motor out. That's crazy talk. The spring could have hurt something connected to them. Best check. So why would a leak down in a compression check come back good? Let's talk to the geniuses on the chat. If the spring, if the valve was fucked up, leak down in compression test came out good. Tell me how that would correlate. On a 16 Mustang ESS, 120 millimeter, 1050X, 10. What can I say? On a 16 Mustang GT ESS 120mm 1050X and free-flowing exhaust, what can I expect switching to an 18 manifold? 15 to 20 horsepower. That's it. Not 100. Timing chain tensioners were reused? No, that's new, and the chains were upgraded to the bigger Ford GT style chains. Crank sprocket? Same one. Basically, I got pistons and chains put in. Yes. Again, you know, don't get me mad, guys. I've learned so much from watching your videos in such a short time. Al is actually eating his words. The OPG is maddening. Guys, yeah, you have no idea. I have no idea. Head Fund, Colorado. Sending it to a shop can get expensive real fast. I agree with Jake's standpoint. However, I get where you're coming from. I want it fixed. Right. Compression test answers that. Exactly. VS, I don't want to do the extra work. I know a guy in Baytown that will check it out for $1,000. Alex, could be the tapping noise be a lifter or a bottom end? No, definitely not a lifter. Okay. It's a Tremec T56 with like Billy Badass stuff. It doesn't go click, 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 click. It's very slight. You have to like, you got to listen past the chopping. You got to listen past everything and go, okay, that's a different noise. So do you go, is it normal? Because it's got solid motor mounts. It's got 2-inch primary headers. Could be the headers hitting in. And I did see the headers marked up from hitting the body. So it could be rocking and hitting on the body. It could be many things, but all pressure seems good. So what are you going to do? I know you're trying to be nice about the situation, but come on, no excuse for this amount of money you have to pay. See, okay, so you can look at it 2 or 3 different ways. Okay. When a motor gets sent somewhere and you had a valve train issue. I could see the trains of thought going this way. Crank's good? Yep. Reuse it. Rods are good. Yeah, reuse it. Pistons are good. Yeah, but Alex wants higher compression stuff. Oh, and by the way, he got to keep my other pistons because those pistons are fine. So you got to like hone the block a little bit to make the pistons fit. Ring them. Then you upgrade to the 12 millimeter chains. Same cams, same rods, same crank, same springs, same oil pump gear, same crank sprocket. And then reassemble and go. And I'm like, maybe I expected something else, but I don't know. I didn't question it. But once I start asking questions, you know, I question it. I once I start asking questions after issues arise, that's when I go, Now you could look at it a couple of ways. You could look at it as tuition. You could look at it as that's how it is. But going on a bash fest doesn't help anybody. I can definitely understand that, let's say the next time I get an engine built and I go somewhere else and I say, give me an itemized invoice of everything I'm going to get. And I'm not going to assume anything that's used is going to be reused. So I've learned that. Now I have that lump in my brain and my pockets are a lot lighter so that I learn to ask more questions. And yeah, you can get really mad and you can blow up on the internet, but understand this. While a lot of people say this channel is not that influential, a lot of people say this channel sucks, blah, 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 blah. It is probably the most important car channel on the Ford side by a ton. So if this channel starts popping off and we got some rabid fans, this channel has some loyal, shout out to all you guys that are members, Patreon subscribers, I love you too. I don't want you guys going all in on someone that I don't think deserves that. But the way I look at it goes, oh, okay, so that's not part of the deal. Maybe I was naive to think that that was automatic. And now I know better. But now the motor is under my hands. And it's now my problem because I'm going to change things up from what it was, from what I got it delivered. So it takes them off the hook. It brings full responsibility on me. So from here on out, I can't bitch and complain to anybody because I have now configured the engine differently than what was spec'd out by adding new springs. So you got to understand, I understand you guys want me to just fucking say fuck everybody. And 5 years ago, I'd be right there with you. But I'm not protecting anybody. I am trying to be at peace. Okay, let's talk about peace. And how much money is worth your peace. So if I go out there and go on a bash fest and make an enemy and burn a bridge out of feelings, because men can't really be emotional about anything. When you drive your thought process with emotion, you are now a woman. So let's look at this logically. If I was disappointed in what I got for what I paid, meanwhile not asking all the questions that I probably should have asked, I assumed too much, because you could look at it from a different standpoint. And again, I'm not bashing. I am just stating fact. What is different on this motor than the previous? The pistons and the chains, right? So the rest is hardware and labor. So you go, okay, how much were the pistons? And how much was hardware and labor? Okay, so if I wanted new oil pump gears and a crank sprocket, I probably should have asked for that. If I wanted new springs, I probably should have asked for that. But I didn't know that at the time. So, okay, I have now learned that. If I go out of my way to bash, all it does is get me mad. It makes me look like a salty asshole, and I don't get my project done. So what's the best way of correcting this? The best way of correcting this is by shutting the fuck up, asking questions, getting help, get it fixed, figure it out. Yes. Did it cost a lot of money? In my book, in Alejandro Flores' world, my tiny little world, close to $11,000 is huge money. So I think I now have a bachelor's in automotive aftermarket modifying, because the tuition I paid is made me learn a ton. And again, not bashing anybody. I don't want anyone to be bashed. I'm just stating how I feel after going through this process the first time. Just such you had to learn the hard way. Yep. Did they use the same head studs, same gaskets, or is that assumed to be included? I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's all the same stuff. But I don't know that. That's 100%. You have to ask the right questions before giving people large sums. I've been burned before. Best place to learn is from your own mistakes. And this will never happen again. You understand? And again, I'm not bashing anybody. What I'm going to do if I ever have to build a motor again, I'm going to want an absolute line item of everything. Your cost, your labor. I understand it's a quote, so it can go up or down accordingly. Usually it goes up. It never goes down. Time to install, price, Now, and I understand now. When I was a kid, I'd see a guy take out, when I gave someone the receipt, they'd go, I go, look at this pain in the ass looking at the receipt like an asshole. Now, I'm going to be that guy that goes, what's this? I didn't order dressing, and you put the Coke in there 2 times instead of once. Aren't there free refills? I'm going to be that guy because I now have that knowledge and experience to ask those questions. That's all. Thank you, Ashley Fox, saying stop by to drive chop a like. The valve has surface area, and under boost pressure, the valve has force pushing it open. So a spring with 120 pounds of seat pressure might act like a spring with 70. EPA, I don't think there is a need to bash publicly, but a conversation with the builder is private. Sure, already had that. I have already had that. The builder is not shying away from this. The builder has offered me shims, gaskets, and even new springs. But I already bought springs. See, I bought this stuff right away because I wasn't, I'm one of these guys that projects have to have forward progress. So right now, listen, everyone that has a project car in their garage or in a storage unit or whatever, work on it 1 hour a day or 2 every day. Because the longer it sits, the out of sight, out of mind. The Fairmont was a glaring example. It was rotting away until I got my head out of my ass and said, you know what? Instead of buying a Model S Plaid, why not? I was willing to buy a $100,000 car. But then I'm like, if I'm willing to buy a $100,000 car, why don't I just spend 40 grand on the Fairmont? And that's what I did. I allocated money on the side. This is Fairmont money. Forward progress. GT500, I'll pull the engine next week. I'll pull the engine next year. I'll pull the engine in February. No, pull it now. So I bought springs right away. I said, I'm getting new springs. Spring tool, And by the time me and the builder started communicating, he had offered some stuff that I had already bought. But he's not shying away from this. I hold zero bad feelings towards the builder. This I am now putting on myself. I should have done a better job of asking questions before I sent the motor to anybody. That was 100% my fault. I should ask questions, and I've learned. I've learned from that. Learning from my mistakes, learning from my past. he's not punching air. He's probably listening. He's like, I understand what he's saying, but I understand what... Okay, so if you're a builder, right, and you see a motor comes in, there isn't anything wrong except the broken cam gear and the chain. Chicken or the egg, right? I think the broken cam gear caused the chain to break. Valves are good. Block's good. Rods are good. Pistons are good. Crank's good. Hey, Alex, what do you want to do? Well, let's get some pistons in there. Okay. And I'll upgrade your chain. Okay, cool. That's all I did. In hindsight, I should have gone, well, since we're in there, can we get oil pump gears in there? New springs? Maybe new cams? You know? But I did not do that. In hindsight, I should have gotten new cams, same pistons, just check the bottom end, make sure everything's good, maybe new bearings or something, you know, and a new valve train, because that was what broke. But that's hindsight. Hindsight is always a much more clearer picture than real time. But I left it up to those words. I said, okay. And then when I start going, wait a minute, what was replaced? And then I look at what I paid. I go, maybe that's just the going rate. But as a poor guy, you go, damn, racing's expensive. If this money is for this stuff, shit, racing's expensive and it's probably not for me. Look at Craig Walls, right? The reason I wanted to know what a billet Noonan cost. See, understand those words. That's huge money. So when I was at the track and I met Craig Walls and I go, what's done with the car? And he goes, it's got a billet Noonan 460. I go, oh, Lord. You got a $50,000 motor in this thing? He goes, yep. Understand, if you want to get into this racing world, it's not cheap. It's tuition. Building an engine isn't cheap. My coworker wants a 400 horsepower 351 Windsor. I told him just to Coyote swap it, since they'll end up being the same amount of money, and the Coyote will drive way better. Yeah, look, I understand 100%. Oh my God, Jesus Christ, EPA, you don't got to give me $100. You know how many cookies I got to buy to make that work? I appreciate you. Now I got to spend it all on cookies. Appreciate you very much. So you will now be the GT500 spring expert. I have now turned this into potentially a positive. Now, motor comes out, all of you will watch the spring replacement video. If I have to take the cams out, you'll watch that because I'll film that. And you're now going to be well-versed in what it takes to change cams on a GT500 and springs. Show me anybody that's doing that on YouTube. Nobody. I mean, Cobra shit, but that's gay shit. Man, if there was a person to go to above and beyond for an engine build, not the absolute bare minimum. I should have asked more questions, I think I should have asked more questions. I think he was very clear, like, okay, this is what's up. And I'm like, oh, I'm assuming that's a whole bunch of new parts because there's 5 figures in there. So I'm like, well, it's going to get a whole bunch of new parts. Tax collector is still collecting taxes. At least you got to pull the motor in December instead of the depth of hell in July or August. Exactly, Freedom Rider. No sweat. I did not sweat. It was 62 degrees outside. I was having a great time. This is why some places don't work on something someone else worked on. So they used the factory OPG and crank sprocket. Look that way. You're doing it yourself. Huge favor by taking it the way you're taking it. Even if one bolt you remove, that's the bolt less time you work on. That's how I like to think about it. All good, man. Thank you, EPA. To be fair, you were expecting to be treated how you treat customers by telling them the answers they don't know how to ask yet. I hate to say that because it's true. It's true. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, look, I understand what you're saying. Again, the more I complain, the more I look like I'm salty. Me and him are good. I just learned a lot during this process. 200 to 300 an hour is what I pay, it says Ignacio Ramirez. EPA giving Alex some of that strongman emissions compliance money. Alex, you pretty much bought a new sleeve short block. What you described doesn't sound like 11K. GT350 Manny reported 18 Manny Gen 2 Coyote GT350. It's slightly better, but for the price, an 18 manifold will be fine. Alex, about to get all the Cobra fans, stands, I'll assist for free just so I can learn. Now I got plenty of help. And you understand, guys? There is something about working by yourself in a garage with music playing, the 90s alternative. Unfortunately, the Cranberries come on and you start yelling. Only old guys would know what the fuck I just said. Millennials are like, who are the Cranberries? And you know, I was at peace, bro. The moment I jacked up that motor and I saw that it was free and I got the headers to clear the engine bay, I was legit fucking proud of myself because I did it in like 3.5 hours. I was like, Alex, you're a fucking badass. Fuck it. Yep, badass shit. Boom, put the motor down, took the headers off because I want to redo the studs, I want to redo the gaskets, I want to redo a couple things. I took the oil cooler off. I took a whole bunch of shit off that I probably didn't have to take off, but I'm glad I took it off because if the front cover has to come off, it's already out. Chris Sullivan's channel was very informative for valve LS stuff. Didn't you say they happened to remove the two-step? It happened right after I removed the two-step, yes. But I removed the two-step, listen, because it was misfiring. I said maybe it's the two-step. It was already misfiring. It was already down on power. It was already sucking. So I said, maybe it's the MSD fucking up. And it's still doing the same thing. Alex, not trying to talk shit, but did you just do what you tell everyone not to do? You always say stick to proven setups. Stick to proven setups. The motor was proven. What do you mean? Ignacio Ramirez. Stick to proven setups. The motor was proven. It had gone 8-1. It slowly lost power. What do you mean stick to proven setups? What about this setup isn't proven? I had no idea some parts were reused until the motor started to have issues. So I don't know what that comment means. The older I get, the more patience I have. Used for a valve spring keeper. Thank you so much, Rod Arms. He gave me $5 for a spring keeper. Laid Brown Rebuild is crazy high. Freaking zombies. Turvy needs to get on those videos. Losing is part of winning. No mistakes, only lessons. Alex, truly the new way you've handled this is a testament to your character. Bravo. You can't go out there bashing shit. You have a lot of influence. You have a lot of people. You have a lot of people that look to you as a voice of the, maybe some hot rodding Ford stuff. Maybe there's a chunk of you that don't comment. You're ghost watchers, ghost listeners, but you hear me say stuff and you do it. So if I go out there bashing a guy that probably had all the right intentions, but the outcome wasn't what I wanted, and then once I started looking into it deeper, I had more questions, there's no reason to bash him. I learned a lot. Couldn't you have bought an FFRE short block? They don't do 5.2, 5.4, I don't think. There's a couple of shops that I talked to, but I think FFRE only does Coyote stuff. Millennials know who the Cranberries are. We grew up with zombie shit comes apart fast when you do it twice. Alex, in hindsight, would you have just gone Illuminator on a GT500? I don't know how the fuck I would have done that. I used to work with an engine rebuilder when I was in high school, and honestly, they reused a lot of shit like intake valve springs. Gotta let it linger. Zombie. Wham! Last Christmas comes on, you drop the 10 millimeter. I think he means like buying illuminators as opposed to going to engine builders. Name me 5.4, 5.8 engine builders that you know of that you trust. Go. Go ahead. Every engine builder has had an issue of some sort. It's how they stand behind their product that really dictates how you deal with them. And by all metrics, this person has stood behind the product. I just questioned some things afterwards, and I got a lot of clarity on stuff. But in terms of standing behind the product, so far so good. I guess he means unproven setups because it's a high compression 5.8. Okay, do you guys think that I just willy-nilly pick somebody to rebuild my motor that I don't have a history with, that I don't know has rebuilt motors before, you think I just picked some guy out of a hat and said, this guy's rebuilding my motor? Or did I pick a guy whose motors I've tuned have made 13 and 1400 horse, and I said, Bro, those shits are proven. Those high compression GT500s are something special. I have tuned 1200 to 1300 horsepower TVS GT500s. This person built those motors. Did you think I just picked them out of a hat and said, oh, let me just try somebody I've never heard about? No. Stop it. Here's one GT500 spark plug. You are not wrong. $10. Thank you so much, Justin. Swap out Gen 2 motor and back running 8 hours. Pat myself on the back. Hello, Theo Alex says, no chill. Now one. I built my own. Rocco Zilli says, you can't foresee everything, but I don't see the spring should have been changed. I agree. Michael Camacho says, these comments tonight are something else. I will continue to go SWAT. Thank you, Michael Camacho. I appreciate you very much, brother. Carter CV says, change the live title to what to look for when we're building an engine for people to refer to later. Let's do it now. What to look for when we're building an engine. What to look for when getting your engine rebuilt. And then go, let's say 14 GT500 content. There you go. Okay, I changed the title so that in the event that somebody comes back, there you go. Change, just like you, if you want to see the change, you gotta refresh the stream. YouTuber named Stradman went on a rant on a shop building his Lamborghini, and his millions of followers destroyed that shop IG after the video aired. That's why I don't want to do that. Now, let's say the engine builder ghosted me. I still wouldn't publicly rant. One of the more powerful, thank you for the Viper Fund, says Mr. Prime, gave me $2 for a Viper Fund. Let's say that the engine builder didn't have my back and said, bye, fuck you, you're fucked. I'm not going to publicly shame him. That is, then I look salty. L&M has had their issues too. Love ya. L&M. You don't have to get started. Every engine shop has had issues. Every single one. It's how they handle the issues that dictates whether they're good or not. And he is, Snowman. Sorry, I've only tuned about 50 cars, 50, with 5.8s, high compression, 7,500 RPM, 13 plus 100 horsepower cars. So I'm not going off of just no data here. Who do you think has more data, you or me? So what can I do if somebody that I dealt with doesn't back their product? Simple. I don't recommend their product. Right? Like the best thing I can do if someone says, because guys, I get asked this question probably 20 or 30 times a week. Who do you recommend for a motor build? And I would say this guy, this guy, and this guy. Not this guy, or this guy. That on the background, you never see it. You never see it publicly. You never see all that stuff. But what you do see is that person have a decline in motor work. LMP says, Alec checking in. What's up, Alec? Yeah, I'm telling people that if I get the car tuned by you, I'm going to request an 11-to-3 air fuel ratio. I don't care what you say. If you say 12-1, I said, nope. 12-5, no. I want 11. Alejandro Flores, the tuner, wants 11-3 air fuel ratio. I said basically once the transmission gets done, come back, get the car running. I think it'll run 9s as is. Like it'll be like a 980 car, I think. Then I bring it to you, do a fuel system in the 85, and you tune it. And I want 11-to-3 air fuel ratio. 11-to-3, 11-2. I know they're not exactly dead nuts. That's where I want it. I applaud your level of level-headedness. Shutting up, even after finding out what was done, left my ass off. Here's some support for the rebuild and the tongue surgery after biting it so hard. You got this, bro. Right, look, and I'm actually excited. I'm actually excited to work on the car and work on the motor and get you the content. Am I unhappy that it's cost me thousands of dollars to diagnose it and fix it? Yeah, I'm not happy about that. But what the fuck am I going to do? Just let it sit? It's not going to fix itself. Someone is trying to tell me that a pushrod LS is the best overall way to make power for a car over a Coyote. Can we get a couple of points from you as to which one is better? Jesus Christ. You're going to go into the LS Coyote argument? Simple. The people that are pushrod LS guys are always going to shove one thing in your face. Header collector. Header collector, late model. Not tailpipe. Tailpipe, that's like 10.8. So header collector, 11.3, not at the tailpipe. The tailpipe. Shit. People that are going to tell you that an LS is better to make power than a Coyote are gonna find out really quick that you have to do more work to an LS to make the power a Gen 2 and up Coyote can make with simply boost and fuel. Boost and fuel, 1,000. Any Gen 2 and up Coyote. GT500, Mustang, Gen 3 Ford truck, Gen 3 Ford Mustang, boost, fuel, about 20 PSI, makes 1,000. An LS is going to require a shitload of work. Heads, cam, probably a 427, blah, blah, blah. And boost and fuel, and sure, you can then make 1,000. So what they're going to shove in your face is the cost. The cost. I can get a 5.3 from a 1,500 Sierra work truck and make 1,000. Yeah, once or twice. Admirable Pecker would use a navigator for your build. Are head studs reusable generally? I don't know. JD Bruce, there's a mechanical efficiency to engines, and the Coyote motor moves air efficiently over any LS. Studs, not head bolts. I'm with you on the air fuel ratio. LMP questions for you. Oh, look at that. Car enthusiast wants a question for LMP. What's the thoughts behind adding a meth kit in a car that runs D85? Just curious. Thank you. I mean, I'll let him answer, but I would think it'd be cooling and potentially additional fueling. Now, if you have a fuel system, meth is kind of redundant unless you need the cooling. If you have E85, why meth? I think it's just for the cooling. But meth just makes everything happier. Like, why wouldn't you want more octane and more fuel and more cooling all at the same time? But I'll let Alec chime in if he's got the flu or something. I think he's got the HIV or something. People are helpless, whine and complain. Competent people handle business. Boundary oil pump gears, no. Thank God that did not happen. And Alice will cost you your dignity. Yeah, the problem with LS versus Coyote argument is this. It's over. The argument is over. Coyote is king. Coyote's king. So people are going to say, but they're too expensive. Okay, so let's do this. You can get a Gen 2 Coyote for between $5,500 and let's say $7,000 in great shape. You want it to oil pump gears and the labor? Let's just add another $500 to that. So let's say right in the middle, $6,400 or so. So now let's get a good LS. And I'm not talking a fucking truck engine. I'm talking like an LS3 from a Camaro. Because I'm talking a Gen 2 Mustang motor. So an LS3, how much is it? How much is an LS3 stock? How much money do you have to put into an LS3 to be able to handle about 900 to 1,000 horsepower? And then do the math. Peaky Out of Design says, ARP head studs can be reused as long as they haven't been overstretched. Stock head bolts are torque to yield, one-time use. 2024 Mustang tuning ETA? No ETA. Probably another year. I thought meth could be used as a fuel system crutch. Yeah, but, we'll see. Anything on full E, says late model performance, really won't benefit from meth unless it's super high compression. There you go. So there is no real benefit to meth on an E85 motor. Let's say 10 to 11 to 1. But if it's like 12 or 13 to 1, I think he feels meth is useful. Depending on head stud, they can be reused. If it's a bolt, more than likely can be reused. Can't. If it's a bolt, it more than likely can't be reused. Alec got tiger blood. Spent my money on 2020 white GT. Hey, Alex, would you consider learning engine building with great trusted people and do it yourself? Great to learn and save money. You don't understand, Brendan. Schlecklen Malayer. Holy shit, what a name. Am I going to be an engine builder or an engine assembler? Understand this, guys. Do you know what it takes to rebuild an engine? The equipment, the tooling, the tools, the room, the electrical needs? Or am I just going to become an engine assembler? Because if I have a block that was prepped by another machine shop, a crank, bearings, and rings that I have to size up, am I an engine builder? Or am I an engine assembler? See, some people, the flu kicked my ass, I'm starting to get over it. Some people, right, an engine builder, in my opinion, does the following. What's the application? Well, I want to go 7s. Okay, well, the motor you got makes too much torque. The stroke is too long. It's going to beat up the bottom end and eat up bearings. So why not de-stroke it? Different crank, custom rods, a certain piston you like based on the cylinder head that complements what you want to do. Then you spec out the cam. So now you have something that is not cookie cutter. You don't have a Gen 2 motor with a stock bore, with a stock cam, and stock rings. You now have a motor that has been bored to a certain piston length you spec'd out, piston bore you spec'd out, a cylinder bore you spec'd out, a cam you spec'd out, rods you spec'd out, crank you spec'd out, a D-stroke small block Ford or something. Now, if you say, hey, get me a DSS 331 kit and a standard bore block, and I'll have a machine shop size it, bore it. What are you building an engine, or are you just assembling engines? LMP says, big difference between engine builder and assembler, especially speccing the build. The cam, the heads, the rod ratio. Thank you so much for putting a blue check mark on what I say. See, a lot of people would have heard what I said, and they would have been like, what's the fucking difference, Alex? You're just putting a motor together. No, you're not. A lot of people, the stroke is too long, beating up the bottom end. Well, it's true. See, a lot of people have big, crazy stroke cars and have a really tough time, let's say, launching the car. So if you have a highly stroked, crazy big cubic inch something, and the car is having trouble on the leave, and you have to ramp in boost and you have to back off power, why not build a high RPM motor so the leave is softer and you can then pour power in, aka a Coyote? That's where the Coyote is perfect. You can literally launch the car, and if it sticks to tire, here's 30 pounds of boost. It's stuck to tire. It's not going to make crazy torque. Now, if you have a 460 cubic inch small block Ford with a 100 plus millimeter turbo, that launch is going to be tricky unless the track is on point. What's up, Cobra Dave? The stroke is too long. That's what she said. Alex, just add your springs to the motor and call yourself an engine builder, right? An engine assembler and an engine builder speccing out a build is completely different. Pistons and chains and valve isn't valve spring. Garage Built believes in torque spec, not ugga dugga. You got to clip this shit. Everything is specced out already. Assemble equals fun to put together with friends and family. Okay, let's get out of here. So today, talked about Tesla drivers being the worst drivers on the road because they don't like to drive, and that's where you get a Tesla. You get a Tesla for the tech, for the Netflix, and for the porn while you're driving, and the autopilot and self-drive, not because you like to drive. And Lending Tree has pretty much proven that per 1,000, Teslas crash way more. We talked about the Camaro being dead and why it died and what is going to replace it. And we spent another hour or so talking about engine assembling, GT500, and how to handle issues if you come across them. Late Model Performer says, everyone thinks they know how to build a motor from what the internet forums say, but not many people have done testing of what works. We gave hundreds of runs on the engine dyno for our blower setups. I got you, brother. I got the misspellings. It's all good. Alex biting his tongue so hard, he'll have to take the Mike Tyson lisp. Keith, this is my buddy's... what does it say here? Okay, gotcha. I understand. I understand what you're saying. Again, I didn't have that experience, so I understand that's what you're saying. Hey, Alex, just want to say thanks for educating us young guys on racing and cars in general. And an engine assembler puts parts in an engine, and an engine builder makes parts work better via porting, lightning, clearancing, and testing. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you very much for hanging out with me for a little bit. Tomorrow, I am going to try to video some more stuff. I don't think we're going to start assembling anything tomorrow because I have to wait for the spring compressor tool, the height adjusting for the spring, that tool, the shims to come in, the springs to come in, and I don't think Jake is planning on doing anything tomorrow with me, and I'm not ready. I have to like set up the garage as an engine assembly shop to make it easy for us to put the springs in. We're going to try to do it with the cams in because we bought a special tool. If it doesn't work, we got to take the cams out, and that's a decent amount of work, and we got to make sure that the cams go in the same spot because those cams were degreed to a certain spec, which I don't know. So that's what we're going to try to do tomorrow or Friday. I'm hoping that to get the engine back to, done, new springs in it, and back in the car by next week, because next week I'm off all week. So I'm going to try to do as much as possible. Also next week, I'm going to drive up to Pennsylvania and drop off the ZR1 to Ben Calamer's shop. Maybe do a video. So it'll be a busy couple of days. That's why I ditched the dating channel for now, because I need to concentrate on this channel and these cars, because I can't just be fucking around and doing dating channels when I can take that afternoon and work on the cars and get you videos on that as much as possible. Thanks for hanging with me. I'll be back on Thursday, talk a little shit with you guys on Thursday, and I'll keep you updated as to what we find and what we do, and look up for videos on the engine removal and potential setup for the new engine to go up, the new spring to be installed, and the layout. But I'm not really going to get you a video unless something happened. Something new, like spring installation or something. I'm not going to send you an update video with no new information or nothing to learn or nothing to see here. All right, guys, I'm out of here. See you guys Thursday. Hopefully some video pops up and we'll get some stuff done.